Good morning. Welcome to Tuesdays in the Text. My name is Ted Doering. I'm the pastor of Narrative Church in Round Rock, Texas. And it is my joy to dive into the sermon text for this week as we get ready for another week by faith, talking about Hebrews 11 and the faith of the people there. So let's dive right in. Hebrews 11, 32 through 34. And what more shall I say? For time would fail to tell of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, of David and Samuel, and the prophets. Now this is interesting, right? So we've talked a lot about different Old Testament characters, people who have been done amazing things, and all of it is by faith, by faith, by faith. Now, notice we get this list of people that we're not going deep into, but then we get what they did here. So, who through faith, what did they do? They conquered kingdoms, enforced justice, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the power of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, and were made strong out of weakness, became mighty in war, and put foreign armies to flight. So we kind of get this thing here of might, right? Look at these, we'll say, mighty deeds that were done. Now, of all of these things, as we look at them, we're going to focus this week on David, right? That even in the midst of this list, we want to zero in here. And the reason I want to zero in is to talk about strength out of weakness. That's what we're going to kind of be looking at. So we're going to take a look here at David and his reaction after Nathan, the prophet, comes to him about Bathsheba, which is what we get here in Psalm 51. So I don't have the title here. I cut it off as I was cropping in these images of the scripture, but Psalm 51 says this is a psalm of David after he's visited by Nathan, the prophet. So to get that timeline, David has slept with a woman who is not his wife, who's Bathsheba, and he then sends her husband, Uriah, to the front lines and tells everyone, hey, leave him open. Basically, send him out to the front lines and everyone take a step back so that he dies. That all happens. Nathan is sent as a prophet, and he tells a parable about a rich man who has a giant flock of sheep, and when someone comes to visit, he instead goes and kills the poor neighbor's only lamb. And David is irate. Who is this man? What has he done? He will be punished. And Nathan, kind of his mic drop moment is, you are that man. And so he realizes, and his sin is revealed to him. And so then this is what his response is here in Psalm 51. And this will be this strength and weakness. How do we encounter when our sin is shown to us? What do we do? And so we get David here. Have mercy on me, O God, according to what? Your steadfast love. Now, we get this steadfast love. This is this Hebrew word chesed, and it gives us an idea of God's love for us in the midst of who we are and who He is. This is a loving kindness for us. It's more than just simple love. It's a loving kindness for us. So look at this steadfast love. According to what? Your abundant mercy. So remember, Hebrew poetry rhymes ideas, not sound. So blot out my transgressions. So here we have this build up here, right? That we go from have mercy on me, according to what? Your steadfast love, according to what? Your abundant mercy. So actually, these two lines kind of both end up rhyming back up to the mercy. According to what kind of mercy? Your steadfast love. Or what is your mercy according to? Your steadfast love, your abundant mercy. Let's keep looking. Wash me thoroughly, completely, all the way through from my iniquity, right? Cleanse me from my sin. So here are these two ideas rhyming. For I know my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me. Have you ever been in a place where you know you did it? Right? Where you see what you've done. Against you, and you only have I sinned, and done what is evil in your sight. So you only have I sinned, and done what is evil in your sight. So here we see this connection again of these ideas, so that you may be justified in your words, and blameless in your judgment. Now this is an interesting thing here that David writes. So you may be justified in your words and blameless in your judgment. Okay, does David need to give permission here? No, he's not giving God permission. He's stating it, right? This is a statement. Not to say, oh God, I give you permission to be in this, but he goes, no, it's more for him than it is for God. He knows God is blameless in his judgment. He knows that he's justified in his words, but he's saying, I can see it. It's very clear. Now he reflects on who he is. Behold, I was brought forth in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Now the temptation with this line, in sin did my mother conceive me, you could take that to say, oh, is this David saying that he was sinfully conceived, that something happened and that was what it was? No. He's talking about original sin here, right? He's making sure that as he prays, he says, I know sin. I'm not, he's really, he wants people to know, he wants God to know as he's praying, to say, listen, I see my sin. It's in front of me. It's before me. So much so that I know even when I was born, my sin was present. So, now look here. You delight in truth in the inward being. You teach me wisdom in the secret heart. Now, this connects back up here, right? So, inward being and the secret heart. Now, we could take this and make this a deep, what is that? And how do we connect to this? It's no. What are those things that you know that no one else can know? Right? As much as we can communicate with our mouths, what David is saying is, inside of me, that thing that no one can see, you see, and you delight in truth. So what is that truth? That truth is his acknowledgement of sin, right? Saying, I understand I sinned. And it's not just a lip service, it's inwardly, right? So it's within that place that no one else knows. It's admitting to not only God, but to himself, right? He's saying, Lord, I understand this sin, and I'm not just saying it, I know it. Hold on to that. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Now, I know, but for the life of me, I can't remember the importance of hyssop here, and I should, and I don't. So I'm just going to, kind of put some arrows here that I want to come back and remember, because I've forgotten. There's an importance for him using hyssop here as opposed to something else, and I could, lean into something, but right now that memory is just kind of just a little far off. So I want to come back to that in my study and go, okay, remind me why hyssop is important. So then he says, let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones that have broken rejoice. So he's looking at this sin and he says, I want to move from here to here. I want to be back in joy. So he says, hide your face from my sins. Blot out my iniquities. So he's saying, I want you to see me not through the lens of sin, but through you, right? I want you to make this decision. I want you to understand. Then, how does he say that? So he says, hide your face from me, blot out my iniquities. And what's the movement here? You create in me a clean heart, O God. Now, my guess, and again, I'll use yellow here, that I want to come back to this. My bet would be this create in me is second person imperative. That he's saying, you, God, whoa, technical difficulties there, huh? All right, you, God, create. Now, an imperative is usually a command, but think of it this time not as him commanding God to do something, but instead he's saying, no, you have to do it. I can't do it. So he's not commanding God to do it. He's saying, Lord, I can't do this. You do it. Now, so I want to go back and look, right? Is that second person imperative? So, renew a right spirit within me. And you know what? I'm gonna take a look at that too to see, hey, is this renew second person imperative? Because that gives me more insight. You know, we look at the words in the original Greek and Hebrew because it helps us understand the emphasis, right? You can read this and you can get it, but sometimes getting a little bit of that emphasis and understanding what's happening is really helpful. So he keeps going. Cast me not away from your presence, and take not your Holy Spirit from me. So he's saying, listen, I'm sinful, I know this, but let me be your child. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and uphold me with a willing spirit. You know what? I'm actually just this whole section. When I pull up the original languages, I want to see, is this second person imperative? I really want to look into that to see, hey, is this what David's emphasizing here? Because here we have, so think here, create, right? Renew, cast me not, take not your spirit, restore, uphold. So here we have this idea, you know, in verses 10 through 12, he's all saying this to God, asking with an emphasis behind it. Because then he says, here's his response. What's he going to do? Then I will teach transgressors your ways, and sinners will return to you. This is one of the movements I love in Psalm 51. Forgive me, and I will tell others. So here we see David give this natural progression. Deliver me from blood guiltiness, O God, of my salvation. So he shows whose salvation is it? It's God's. And my tongue will sing aloud of your righteousness. This goes back to, you deliver me. Here's what I'm going to do. Now, again, I want to look at this. 15, is this another second imperative? I'm going to bet it is. So I'm going to pull that up in my study today. O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. Now look at it like this. Just look at this sentence structure. O Lord, you are doing the action of opening my lips. And what's going to happen? My mouth will declare your praise. So look at this. Even as he's coming to this forgiveness, and he's saying, you do it, right? God is the one doing the work, not David. This isn't about how great he is. This brings us back to that by faith, right? By faith. He's saying, let that faith be the thing in which you have done. So let's look at these last couple verses here. For I will not delight in sacrifice, or I would give it. For you will not delight in sacrifice, or I would give it. You, this is God, right? You will not be pleased with a burnt offering. Now, this is interesting because this is how God sets the sacrificial system. That you would bring these things to the temple to seek forgiveness of sins. But David is saying here, listen, it's not just about me bringing sacrifice. It's about seeking change. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. Now, this is actually what the sacrificial system is built to do, right? David is bringing it to what it's supposed to do. You bring these things as sacrifice, not because God needs them, not because it's some kind of magic ritual, but because when you bring them, they're supposed to show you and bring you to that place of a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. Then he brings this prayer. He says, do good to Zion in your good pleasure. Zion here, Zion, Mount Zion in Jerusalem. So think Israel, right? The nation, the people. So David understands he's the leader. So he's like, do good to Zion and build up the walls of Jerusalem. So take care of our nation. Then you will delight in right sacrifices, in burnt offerings and whole burnt offerings. Then bulls will be offered at your altar. So this kind of comes a little bit historically here between these two verses. If David wants to build the temple, and so this is a little bit of building the temple, that he sees the importance here of a place to worship God. But notice here he's saying, listen, once I have been washed and made new by you, Lord, then we can move to these things. And so here we get through Psalm 51, this deep understanding of who God is and what he's done. And that the by faith moment here is that David is able to come before him, before God, and say, I am a sinner, completely, fully share that, and be open. That the by faith moment is that requesting of sin, that strength and weakness. Excited to look at this more on Sunday. Would love to have you join us at Narrative Church. We meet at the Texas District Mission Support Center, the chapel there. It's at 1221 Satellite View in Round Rock, Texas. Now, if you're viewing this and you're saying, hey, I want to find a good gospel-based church, we would love to connect you. We have a lot of friends in Lutheran churches around the country. We'd love to get you connected there. You can just shoot me an email, ted@narrative.church, and we can work to help find you a church. But you have a great week. Dive into these scriptures more. Read them throughout the week. Have a good one.